All right. Second half of Life Unrehearsed. Welcome back. We've got Miriam Pearl, gluten-free extraordinaire. I just had some of her bread. It's fantastic, but it's still all in my mouth just before we get on air. We got about another minute. I just want to make sure the name, delicious without gluten, right, Miriam?
Yeah.
Delicious without gluten?
Exactly.
Okay.
Délicieux sans gluten.
Okay. Just another brick in the wall.
Remember you start talking in front of music?
Yeah.
I'm so happy when it's not me.
Show 97.7 is the home for rock in Montreal.
Shown after CJAD, of course.
They played this on
The
CJAD?
spirit of rock.
Yeah,
Really?
they promote each other.
Oh, that's cool. So do our promos
Here we go.
Do our promos go on that on check?
I don't need to keep this on.
Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. My name is Matt Del Vecchio, specializing in free retirement home search and senior transition support.
And I'm Corey Sirota, grief, loss, and bereavement specialist. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Corey.
I read an article this week that was very interesting, and it had your name on it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I write a regular column in the Suburban, Seniors and Aging Specialist, and a big topic, especially these days, is about senior isolation and loneliness. So the article was about that, some helpful hints and tips for not just seniors, but more aimed at the adult children, their kids, on what to do about it. So yeah, that was out this week. Very proud of that.
That's great. Could you post that on our Facebook
Sure can,
Live?
yeah.
I think it would be great for people to see.
Absolutely. And you... speaking of presentations, next Sunday you got something going on, don't you?
It's not a presentation. It's a very special group called a General Grief Group. It's going to be a support group at the Sylvan Adams YMYWHA on December 16th at 1 p.m. It's for anyone who is experiencing the loss of a significant other in their life, and it's entirely free. 1 o'clock. Sylvan Adams YMYWHA is open to everybody.
You do such good work, Corey. Way to go, and continue. It's desperately needed.
So important. So now that we got that out of the way, let's. Very excited to introduce our next guest. Miriam Pearl is the mother of two beautiful children. These children happen to have celiac disease and some other allergies, and because of this, she's also the founder of Delicious Without Gluten. This means that she's a recipe developer, a teacher, and an advocate for a gluten-free diet. What an entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, Miriam.
Hi.
She's got a great laugh. So let's start with, I mentioned something about the kids and their celiac disease. Why and how did you begin this journey?
When my kids were 4 and 5 years old, or actually 5 and 6 years old, they were diagnosed as having celiac disease, and it was a very big shock for us. We had no idea what celiac disease was, and at that point, I had no idea how to feed them.
Right.
It was a big discovery how to take everything out of my closet and refill everything based on what the dietitian told us, what the nutritionist told us. And I was actually a baker at a peanut-free bakery using wheat flour, and didn't have any idea how to switch over. So I spent some time and I redeveloped some things. We tried 1,001 products that were on the market, and I think we threw out almost 90%. My kids didn't like anything. It was really difficult. And they're 5 and 6 years old, right? So that's the time where they have birthday parties and they want to go out and be with their friends and be just like the other kids. And that was a really difficult thing. So I thought that if I was going to be the super mom to make these great cupcakes and great cakes that they were even better than all the other kids, cupcakes, then they would want to have what my kids had. And therefore, my kids would be like superstars. So I basically went into the kitchen and started developing, and then finally, would have these amazing cupcakes at the birthday parties, and actually some of the other mothers would ask me to make theirs. So I started a little, company inside my house making these little things. And I really wasn't really sure how everything was going to, pan out. I didn't know which flours to use, how to do everything. But with experimentation, I think everything turned out just fine.
That's Miriam Pearl, Delicious Without Gluten. You're hearing about her early days. You don't want to miss about what she's doing now. But I want to back it up a little bit, Miriam, because it seemed like celiac disease just came out of nowhere over the last 5-7 years. And just doing a little bit of research on it, it's amazing. It's almost 300,000 Canadians with celiac disease. It's an autoimmune disease, which could be inherited, and it's chronic. So can you, just in your research, can you define what is celiac disease?
I am not a doctor, but I can tell you that there are these little villi inside the intestine, and when you have celiac disease, they turn into mush, and they don't allow the nutrients to go into your body. So, for example, my son was very lethargic. I thought he had some kind of, tiredness or whatever, that was a blood disease or something. And it just, he wasn't getting the nutrients. And so he had loss of iron and then, was very lethargic. My daughter had little marks on her teeth. We didn't know what that was, but that's a deficiency of minerals and sorry.
But that's incredible for someone who isn't a doctor. You certainly sound like a doctor to me, and noticing that, addressing it, taking care of it. So what did you see as you mentioned a few of them already? Some of the challenges associated with having children with allergies and that gluten intolerance.
The biggest concern for me is that all kids should be included. And when you're going to school and your kids are, they're I don't want to say mean.
Well, they can be cruel. They can.
Yes.
Fair enough.
And I didn't want to say it that, but in that spirit, I really feel like everyone should be included, and all parents should be concerned for their children and to be considerate of others. So when I would have my kids go to a birthday party, I would actually make the cupcakes so that the parents wouldn't have to go out of their way. Now I find when my kids go over to their friends' houses, they're already offering and buying things in advance to be able to serve my kids, and it's beautiful. I love it.
It's quite interesting, right? Because there's the physical dynamics of celiac disease,
right.
the problem, but you're talking very much psychological issues that kids face, right? So I want to get to some of the reactions of parents because they are a huge role. Celiac disease is not just a children's disease, but it's very focused on children. It can be in adults as well. But you've got some wonderful stories, I think, from some of the parents after they've eaten some of your amazing food.
It's incredible. I get emails all the time. But this Friday, I actually received this Facebook message from a lady named Genevieve. And she wrote, "Good evening. Today, you changed my daughter's life. Bought your cupcakes at Costco in Boisbriand today. Let me tell you that my daughter's Eve, 11-year-old reaction was, wow, could you please buy more cupcakes, Mommy, so I could finally bring treats to my classmates and show them that gluten-free and allergies are not so bad after all? Kids bring Timbits and cupcakes that I can't even have a bite. You are awesome. You make me cry tonight because of the first time in 7 years my daughter will be proud to share her food. Thanks so much." Oh my God.
That's something. And that was this Friday. Like, that's just not
bravo.
good for you.
I can't believe that it has such a great positive effect on people.
That's
warms
so
my
terrific.
heart.
So we know, and I have had delicious cupcakes, and I'm not celiac, but they're well worth eating. And but what else? What are some of the other foods you produce?
Well, we're most known actually for our breads, because the bread is sort of like a very difficult product to make. Everyone can really make cupcakes and muffins and things like that. But what makes bread not so great in the celiac world is that it crumbles, and after it's frozen and you try to eat it, it's very flaky and doesn't have good flavor. So mine has actually good texture and taste, and that's something that's very unique to the market. And so that's really where I started my business.
You know, we're going to expand a little bit on that. We're going to get a bit of a traffic update. But Miriam, you know, when I think of gluten-free and peanut-free, I see that it's necessary. My daughter, who's in studio with us today, is also allergic to tree nuts and seafood. But you tend to think that the food doesn't taste good. I don't know what it is. You've brought in some samples here. It is delicious. So
Without gluten.
Without gluten, that's right. And we're going to put you on the spot to hear how you do that. But first, let's hear from Lauren Glazer at the CJAD Traffic Center.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. So we're
It's
gonna,
okay?
yeah, perfect.
Excellent.
So good, so good. So we're gonna come back with how you do it, and you're gonna say with
no
love.
lighting, so I'm like,
Yeah, right. So we're coming back with love, and then well, I guess
secret.
The
The
secret.
secret.
So you're gonna answer that.
Then I'll follow up probably with some of your business challenges with growth. Is
Yes.
that okay? Get
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
mompreneur
that's very
part there.
good.
Yeah.
And then we might have time for one more Corey question. I guess the cook and bake with
Oh
Jake.
yeah, you know her son. It's her son.
I don't want to hear it. I want
Okay.
to hear it live.
Yeah.
I want to hear it live. So that will be the third question, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then it'll be.
So I come back with the secret. You're going to talk about the business challenges, and then I'm going to do cook and bake with Jake.
And
we're
then
gonna
we'll
have people
do
reach out to
thank you. How can people reach you?
That goes so fast. The second
I
half.
know.
Yeah, because we're at around 4:55, 4:56.
Yes.
Way to go.
Why are you promoting unhealthy foods to kids? It's delicious, but kids should be wanting sweet cupcake. What?
Why are you promoting unhealthy foods to kids?
Or not? It's
Well,
not.
because so
Because we talked
unhealthy means that it's sugar, right? So people are like, why are you doing sugar? But you know what? They're gonna eat it anyway, and if you're gonna eat it, like you might as well eat something that's better for you, right? And also, really, it's what they can't eat. It wouldn't be healthy to eat, gluten, right? So they have no choice.
Yeah.
They want to be like the other kids.
Yeah.
They do.
So it
They
is.
do. They really, really do.
You're not
Not
promoting,
everybody can eat like fruit all day long.
But you're also not saying eat it all day long.
Oh,
every day.
no.
You're just, so.
No,
We're just talking
no,
about one
no.
example of the kids going to a
course.
party and
Absolutely.
not being able to.
So Corey, you're going to bring it back,
Yes, I am.
I don't know.
and then you can put the head. Well, if you want to listen to the next song, you can. If not, what I was saying was I wasn't saying take off your phones. I was saying talk into the microphone because you were turning to Corey all the time.
That's why I say.
Yeah.
That's why I say do this and
Okay.
move your chair. So that's why
So
I
you're,
do
yeah,
this usually.
at that angle is good because you're talking to her yeah, that's right.
Okay, I got it.
I'm sliding.
Hey,
I'm sliding.
you're sliding. Robert, you doing okay?
I'm good.
You're going to have some gluten-free snacks there?
I would love a gluten-free snack.
Yeah.
Can we have it?
bread.
Can we have a gluten-free snack?
Sure.
What is this gluten-free snack? What is this?
It might be frozen though.
Oh, no, it's not. What is this?
Is it butter? You
Gluten-free.
can have a cupcake if you want.
I'd rather have a cupcake.
There you go.
To the person who said, why promote unhealthy stuff?
Yeah.
This looks good.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have a cupcake.
See?
Okay.
People want
People want
They say they
cupcakes.
want healthy, but really they want donuts and cupcakes.
I want,
There you go.
That's what it
yes.
is.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Okay, I want to have
Can
this.
you hear?
I don't want to go into the shot.
I want to make sure I was going to pick up the
You
No.
probably will.
Am I going into the shot? Am I blocking the shot? This is a good promo.
Oh, wait, go into the shot. Let's
Okay.
get
I'm going into the shot. I'm going
You're
into
going to
the
the shot,
shot.
but we're going to even do a close-up of you.
Let's do it.
Here it is, live shot.
Okay, let's do it. Oh my god, I've never tried it before in my life. I'm so worried. It better be good.
It better be.
Okay, okay. Oh, it's soft?
Watch me spit it out. No.
Okay, okay, let's see.
Mmm, look at that.
Or call 1-866-5-RED-TAG.
This is friggin' good. This is friggin' good. To describe it, I'd say it tastes like a wafer. In a vanilla wafer.
With a hint of raisin and plum.
With a hint of deliciousness, extra deliciousness, and soft texture.
I love it.
Where did the wafer
Leave it
come
to
from?
Robert
I
Wise.
like a vanilla wafer. You know what icing they use in the vanilla wafer?
I love that. Okay.
Me too, I love that.
I'm an icing person.
Me
Okay,
too, I'm an icing person.
now we got to get you to move back because we got a wonderful shot of the back of your head right now.
As he watches, now he's going to try the other one. No? Now he's on the chocolate one too?
It was that good?
It
That'll
was
be the
really
next
good.
one.
That'll be the next one. I'm gonna try the chocolate one
That's
now.
so fun.
It'll be
It was
hard
really-
for the next half an hour.
That's all we need is him high on sugar. We're done.
High on sugar. You. Trust me.
It won't happen.
I think. Okay. You want to have another one? I want to try the chocolate one. It's good. You want one?
No thanks.
It's good.
Here we go.
I know I'm.
Okay, we're on here.
Now.
The 800. Brought to you by Marco Vallamini of IG Private Wealth Management. Marco Van.
Welcome back. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Corey Sirota with Matt Delvecchio, and we are talking to Miriam Pearl, owner of Delicious Without Gluten, and her inspiring story of perseverance and determination. We're very curious. They're peanut free, they're gluten free, they're all kinds of free, but they're delicious. So, dare I ask you what your secret is?
I tell you, it's a lot of love.
That's right. So I can ask.
Yeah, avoid the question.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm sure people are sort of curious. Do you have any plans in terms of releasing some of your secrets?
You know what? I have a recipe development that's going on right now for a cookbook.
That's cool.
I do some breakfast television shows, and I've been accumulating a lot of these recipes, and that's what's my next. I want to give those recipes out to people so they can also cook at home and bake at home and have delicious goodies.
You know, that's who Miriam is all about. You know, it's so good. And you know, as we came back on air, Corey, there was another Corey Hart, Never Surrender, and Miriam Pearl is with us in studio, owner of Delicious Without Gluten. Never Surrender is a perfect segue, I think, Miriam, from where you've started to where you are now. And I think you're in, like, you got a factory. It's the real deal. You can't even keep up with production. You're in how many Costco's now, you said?
13 Costco's.
So I want to hear about the mompreneur part of you, because now you're dealing with trying to help out the kids with getting some, couple home-baked foods in their lunch boxes to, what was the number? 240,000
264,000 cupcakes.
In what period?
That's what I'm making, 11,000 units for Costco.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So a whole different challenge for you. Now you really got to put on a business hat, and your factory, I guess you're now, it's all has to be inspected, CFI approved, and so how are you finding those challenges now of your stage of growth?
So we've been thinking about this growth for a long time. It didn't happen overnight. So it started from the kitchen, went into a garage in my house, and then went to a factory and built it. And then after, we did actually get certifications. And that's really why, for such a small little mom and pop shop, we had these huge certifications. And we've been developing at all this time. And in thinking that we were going to go big. It's really challenging to go from 0 to 100. So all these years I've been going to health food stores, going to certain supermarkets and building sales slowly. And now it's huge. So it's become a production problem more than anything. But I'm learning, and as each problem happens in business, you have to address it, right? So there's always a challenge, and you wake up every single morning and there's always a challenge, just like every other business. And the challenge is becoming more and more fun because you could see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's not like, the first day you get to work and it's like a struggle and you think like it's never going to end. How am I ever going to make this work? And then as each day goes by, you see it work more and more. And then when you see Costco come, you think, wow, oh my goodness, this is incredible. How am I going to get this done?
I love your reaction when you walk into a Costco store and you see a customer take your cupcake and put it in their basket.
And I did.
Yeah.
And I did. And I have to say, I had FaceTime that whole thing. I was so taken aback.
Yeah.
This is such an amazing moment. Like, I have to cherish the moments along the way because it's never like from, all of a sudden you're star. There's no such thing. It's all the little moments that keep building in your life. And this is a huge moment. And just going to see, people put them in your basket. That's just incredible.
So amazing that you can share it with them. So I know every good chef has a sous chef, and I happen to know your sous chef a long time ago because he was really little then. But you have your son is gotten involved a little bit. So what he has something, I'm not sure what it is exactly, but cook and bake with Jake. Can you tell us about that?
When Jake was really young, he showed an interest. I mean, I made a big deal about my kids having to learn to cook because when they are going to be older, they're going to have to cook for themselves because it's not readily available in restaurants. So I used to take Jake with me into the kitchen and, you know, do all these recipes. And then we thought, okay, great, let's do a show on it. So we developed these little clips and film of Jake doing Cook and Bake with Jake. And every month we would come up with something new to bake and something new to make. And he was amazing. He even went on breakfast television with me and he did his little thing. So I'm so proud of my children that they actually partake in the cooking and they are able to partake in this whole experience about being gluten-free and going shopping with me and looking at ingredients and doing all this stuff to change their lives.
You know, Miriam Pearl, owner of Delicious Without Gluten, you're proud of your kids. I guarantee you your kids are proud of mom, for
Yes,
sure.
that's right. Thank you so much, Miriam. You are incredible. And so I just want everyone to know, where can they purchase your products or how do they reach you?
They can go to my website at www.deliciouswithout.com and all the store locations are right there. Just go into the store locator. You can call us at 514-542-3943 or email us at info@deliciouswithout.com.
Thank you so much for being here. Next week on Life Unrehearsed, Nancy Chernoff will be telling us about how to break through your personal barriers and discover your inner power through fire walking. Yeah, you heard that right. Fire walking.
Fire walking, Corey, next week. And you know what? Are you, or do you know someone suffering from headaches and migraines? Very, very common. Well, we have neurologist Dr. Ted Ween that will be with us next week. And you can catch us every Sunday at 4 p.m. on Life Unrehearsed.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yay!
Great.
Ta-da!
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure.
Thank
So
you.
I'm so
I
glad.
really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Miriam.
Yeah.
Superstar.
Superstar.
I'm so glad.